So it's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she like play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of like pretends to play with her. So like in the beginning, our oldest is like loving on her, and she's like very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her.
And I'm excited to have a creative partner in that with you. And it's just really exciting. There's so much more to say. There's so much I want to say. And there's one thing that I do need to say, which is, I am so sorry you have been through what you've been through with these other filmmakers and producers or whoever the people were that you worked with. It just pissed me off. I'm just still kind of blown away that this is the industry that we're in and that you've experienced that as a woman. And I know I don't need to say it, but that's not at all going to be or will be, and hopefully it's not been the experience with me. There's nothing more exciting to me like that I get to work with Blake Lively and have her, all of her. I mean, that's what I want. And so there's been no hesitancy with me sending you the final draft file. I am totally fine with that. The only reason I didn't send it today was because I was trying to implement and add your notes into my working draft, which is already like I'm all over that draft right now. So there's a whole bunch of new stars that are going to be collated pages. And I just haven't had a chance to send it to you.
In a world where the spotlight often magnifies conflict, even small disagreements can turn into major headlines. Justin Baldoni recently opened up about a heartfelt apology he extended to Blake Lively, shedding light on behind-the-scenes tensions that arose during the development of their film project. It ends with us. Although neither party seemed to anticipate such friction, their creative disagreements over certain script revisions eventually escalated into a situation that made Justin feel compelled to issue an earnest, lengthy voice message to Blake. In that message, recorded in the middle of the night, he took responsibility for his missteps and expressed genuine remorse. The entire scenario serves as a reminder of the complexity inherent in collaboration, no matter how talented or dedicated the individuals involved may be. What started as a simple creative partnership quickly evolved into a high-stakes drama where creative visions and personal relationships clashed.
I'm honored, and I'm also more honored that because, what we're talking about is so important and so meaningful, that we're able to have this much anticipation, and so many people want to go see it and are talking about it. That's what I'm grateful for.
And you had a key part in bringing it to the big screen. How did this all come to be?
Well, in 2019, I read the book. I was sent the book by my book agent and friend at the time, and I was looking for films that could inspire, that were commercially viable, but also could really reach in and touch somebody's heart.
Hey, Blake. It is 2 a.m. Hopefully this does not wake you up. Whew. Wow. There's so much I want to say to you, and I hope that we can FaceTime or see each other in person soon and get to talk more. But I'm just going to send you a few thoughts, and hopefully it's not going to be more than a few minutes. But I don't have the best track record. I don't think either one of us have the best track record for our voice memos. I want to start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank. And I'm really sorry.
Two creative forces diverging over the best way to adapt a beloved novel. Over time, it mushroomed into allegations of bullying.
Justin's connection to It Ends With Us began when he decided to adapt the novel for film. The story, originally penned by Colleen Hoover, had garnered a massive following, and there was immense pressure to deliver a movie that stayed true to the emotional backbone of the source material, while also appealing to a wider audience. Justin, known for his directorial work on heart-tugging projects as well as his penchant for nuanced storytelling, was an ideal candidate to helm the film. When Blake Lively came on board, her star power and acting chops seemed like a perfect fit for the lead character. From the outside, their collaboration sounded promising, two individuals both deeply committed to telling a powerful story. However, as pre-production progressed, creative disagreements started to sprout. Blake, who felt a personal connection to certain aspects of the narrative, proposed modifications that she believed would honor the spirit of the novel while amplifying its contemporary relevance. She also enlisted feedback from 2 close friends who happened to be recognized as creative powerhouses in their own right: Ryan Reynolds, her husband, and Taylor Swift, her longtime friend. Their ideas, combined with Blake's own vision, became the basis for several rewrites of the script's pivotal rooftop scene.
A lot of it's my real life clothes or my husband's clothes or my girlfriend Gigi's clothes. I was borrowing some.
Wait, that's kind of amazing. So you have something of Gigi's in the movie.
Yeah, it's like a wedding, like something old, something borrowed, something blue, something new.
Wait, which
except
one?
it's just,
Now I want to think of the scene.
Oh, I'm wearing her stuff all over it.
Oh, really?
Tons of like Bodhi, which is with the suit now that I'm wearing is Bodhi. It was meant for my husband, but I borrowed it.
His suit?
It was meant for him to wear, but it's so pretty. Look at it. You guys are not getting it in the shot.
I for sure fell short, and you worked really hard on that, and the way you framed it, and how that made you feel. I just want to say thank you for sharing that with me. That takes a lot of trust and vulnerability, and I feel really grateful that you feel safe enough to tell me that that's how you feel and share that with me. And I'm really sorry. I f***ed up. That is a fail on my part. One thing you should know about me is I will admit and apologize when I fail. I am far from perfect. I am a very flawed man, as my wife will attest. And and I'm gonna f*** up. I'm gonna say the wrong thing. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth. I'm gonna piss you off, probably, but I will always apologize.
In retrospect, it was almost inevitable that tension would arise when passionate, highly skilled individuals offered differing viewpoints on the same material. Justin, as director and co-star, had his own concept for how the scene should unfold. According to statements he would later share, he walked into a meeting thinking that the original layout of the script was fairly solid. Blake, meanwhile, arrived armed with her reworked version of that same scene, a version she believed would elevate the film's emotional weight. Her rewriting process was fueled by input from Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift, both of whom she praised for their imaginative flair. As the meeting progressed, the atmosphere grew tense. Justin was taken aback, or at least caught off guard by the extent of Blake's proposed changes. He admits he did not react warmly in the moment. Afterward, Justin realized that his response might have come across as dismissive, or at the very least, insufficiently open-minded. Recognizing the importance of trusting his lead actor and valuing her perspective, he felt compelled to reach out once his own emotions had settled. Late that same evening, actually early morning, he recorded a nearly 7-minute audio message which he then sent to Blake. In it, he apologized for failing to handle the situation with the positivity and enthusiasm she deserved. He confessed that he valued her ideas, admired the work of her incredibly talented friends, and never intended to make her feel undermined. The audio message, time-stamped around 2 a.m., showed a far more vulnerable side of Justin. He admitted that he was not above making mistakes, and recognized that as a director and actor in a highly collaborative field, he needed to listen more and react less.
We always tease each other. He was, after I gave birth, he was like, oh my gosh, if I lost you and I, went to the park with our 3 kids, I mean, think of the ladies I can. Like, this is a horrible thing to say. And he's like, I've got a long list. And I was like, oh, really? Because I just have 1 on my list. Oh. I don't have anyone on my list.
And then it wasn't funny anymore.
No, it's so much more of a burn. He's like, wait, who? And I was like, okay, think of someone.
Right.
Bob Newhart, I don't know.
And find my way back to center. That is one thing I can assure you of. And I'm sorry I made you feel that way. That must have felt terrible. And I will for sure do better. That was not my best weekend, and I should have given it more time. And damn right, you got great friends if that's how you felt and they knew that. And we should all have friends like that, aside from the fact that they're 2 of the most creative people on the planet. The 3 of you guys together is unbelievable. Talk about energy and just a force, all 3 of you. But I just wanted you to know that I didn't need that, because it's really good and it's going to make the movie sing like you said. And I'm excited to go through the whole movie with you. I'm just excited to spend time with you. I'm excited to be in your sphere and your presence, and for us to share creative juices together, although that sounds terrible. I think you and I have been trying to build a relationship which I think we've done successfully.
However,
I mean, here
while
we
the
are.
apology highlighted Baldoni's intent, it also underscored some underlying issues that came to light in the legal battles. Justin also acknowledged that in the heat of the moment, he could come across as inflexible, even though he prided himself on being open to growth and constructive dialogue. Calling himself a flawed individual, he pledged to do better and to treat Blake's insights with the seriousness they deserved. He made it clear that he was remorseful for any discomfort or frustration he may have caused, and he expressed enthusiasm for further building out her ideas within the script. But this highlighted Blake's concerns about her comfort level with Justin's behavior in her personal space at times, citing instances in which she felt her boundaries had been overlooked. In an effort to show his sincerity, Baldoni proposed a unique method of transparency. Justin's lawyer, Brian Friedman, announced that they wanted to make all relevant texts, emails, and voice messages accessible to the public in the interest of transparency. The goal, Friedman stated, was to highlight that Justin's intentions were always rooted in respect and collaboration, rather than undermining or cornering Blake into accepting script alterations against her will. Meanwhile, Blake's legal team pushed back, seeking an order to prevent the release of any further private communications. In one of the texts that came to light, Blake had indeed compared her situation to a Game of Thrones dynamic. In her metaphor, she cast herself as Khaleesi, with Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift as protective dragons, ensuring that her creative vision was heard and that she was not overshadowed or pressured. Following the release of the voice memo, debate sparked about whether the apology was a sincere act or an attempt at manipulation. Some argued that Justin's words, while clearly remorseful, still came from a place of perceived male privilege. They believed that the real issue was not just about script changes, but about ensuring female voices in Hollywood were treated with the same authority and respect as their male counterparts. Others took Justin's side, praising him for being humble enough to apologize and for openly acknowledging that his first impulse was not the best one.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious for her.
Talking like this, me into my phone at 2 a.m, but largely via text and voice note. And I will be honest with you, that is not my biggest strength. I love being with people and being in somebody's space and being face to face, and I feel like that's where I excel, and definitely fallen short at times in our text and voice note exchanges because there's so much to communicate and there's so much happening, and all that to say, I'm just really looking forward to spending time together, and I think that's going to really go a long way for our chemistry, which I believe is there and has been there from the start. So I was so damn excited when you wanted to do this film. I felt it in the room when we met, and yeah, I think it does come from the both of us being hardworking and having a vision and not settling.
On a deeply human level, these moments of candidness might actually pave the way for more fruitful collaboration if all parties truly took the time to hear each other out and address any lingering discomfort. On Justin's end, he spoke out more generally about what he learned from the incident. He pointed to the fact that in a high-pressured environment, especially one as creatively charged as a film set, misunderstandings can balloon rapidly if not addressed. He also recognized that open communication, especially with co-stars who wield significant power in the industry, required a certain humility. Although we don't have direct confirmation of exactly how Blake reacted to the release of the voice message, there were indications she felt at least somewhat validated by Justin's acknowledgement that her script revisions should have received a more enthusiastic response. She stood by her creative choices, referencing the success of collaborative efforts she had taken on in the past, and the enthusiastic encouragement she gets from her circle of friends and family. Justin's 2 a.m. voice note, repeatedly affirming how sorry he was and acknowledging the need to change how he approached collaboration, may ultimately become a pivotal moment in Hollywood's ongoing efforts to encourage open dialogue, mutual respect, and conscientious creativity. While the release of private communications has stirred controversy, the essence of that particular message is Justin's admission of personal responsibility, his recognition that he fell short in acknowledging Blake's contributions, and his strong desire to rectify the situation for the good of the film and for the health of their professional relationship. For now, observers can only wait to see how the final cut of It Ends With Us shapes up. Regardless, this incident has carved out a place in Hollywood's collective memory as yet another example of how even when high-profile artists want the same ultimate outcome, they can still clash over how best to achieve it.